Hi guys. It's been a while since I ever made a video. The last time I made a video technically was when I was pregnant with my son. So it's been 2 years, and it has been a bittersweet uh life of being a motherhood. That's one thing I would like to say, but I decided to make a video because I've been wanting to make a video since for the past 2 years. It's just that I just never got the chance to do so. Um, but mainly this video that I wanna create is mainly I wanted to focus on postpartum depression. And the other thing I really wanna talk about also is I've seen a lot of videos talking about what is a woman, what is a woman. I'm not a politician and I'm not gonna go into argument about that. But one thing I'm gonna tell you is people are having a hard time to identify what a woman is. The best way I can explain it is a woman is a human being that goes through a lot of things, not just physical changes, not just dressing up into an outfit and putting on makeup and walking around and saying I'm a woman. That's not what it is. Just like a man also goes through a lot. A man is the one that technically a real man. I don't know if there's a fake one or whatever, but one that provides for their family, work hard and do manly things and show. But right now my focus is a woman. A woman is not just dressing up, putting on makeup and all that stuff. No. A woman, when they grow up, mainly a woman is somebody who works hard. A mother who works hard to be there for their children. There are some mothers that do not, and there are some mothers that don't care, but this is me talking about women who go through a lot trying to take care of their children. Women who have, when they give birth, they are full of joy, full of happiness, and then also they become overwhelmed because they don't know how to take care of a child. They don't know how to provide for their child. I've been there. I've experienced it. I thought motherhood was the easiest thing in the world, but it is not. It is not. You have to give up your whole life. You have to put your life on hold so that you can take care of that child. So, and not only that, your body changes, your physical appearances changes. You go through a lot. You go through a lot. You experience cramps. It's a lot that a woman goes through. And then having people make videos and try to debate what a woman is, it's very sad to watch this world come into this situation where you have to debate what a woman is. It's very, very sad, especially for women who are going through postpartum depression. Like, I'm one of them. I am one of them, going through postpartum depression after having a child that you don't know. It's not just diapers and wiping their bottoms and feeding them. No, you have to give them love. And for you to do that, you have to give up your own. You have to stop. If you used to party, you have to stop partying because you won't have time to go anywhere. And you have to put that child ahead of you. It is a lot. But mainly, the one thing I wanted to talk about is my experience about postpartum depression and how we people don't really address it, but a lot of people suffer with it. And a lot of them, I know people say, well, you have to go to a doctor or you have to see a specialist. Some people it works and some people don't. It doesn't. But how are you gonna fight it? How are you gonna prevent yourself from doing something harm? Because postpartum depression is just not how you're feeling. It's the things, your brain, how it wires, it changes. Your thinking changes. And you start fighting demons. I'm going to be honest. You start fighting demons in you. You may never have had demons. I never experienced demons. When I was pregnant with my son, I could not wait to hold him. I could not wait to kiss him. I pray to God. I believe in God a lot. I may not pray as much as I need to, but I remember when I was pregnant with my son, I used to put a cross on my belly. On my belly, I would put a cross every day and prayed for him every day. And I said I couldn't wait to hold him and kiss him and give him all that. And I do that every single day. But I never knew that I'll go through postpartum depression. And when time came for me to give birth, I was in labor for a very, very long time. But when time came and I was holding him, I was full of joy. I was happy. And I remember my second day in the hospital when the doctor was like, well, tomorrow you'll be discharging. And I remember 2 doctors came in. And one of them asked me if I knew what postpartum depression was. And I said no. He's like, well, it's a way where you feel in a way like you want to do harm to yourself or to your child. When I heard that, I was like, that's not me. It's never gonna happen because I just worked so hard for this child and I'm not gonna do anything. But I didn't know that it was already in me. It's already attacked me. And the crazy thing is, after I discharged, I was with my mother-in-law. When my mother-in-law was going back home, I was left with my son, and now I'm thinking, what do I do? Now I'm not gonna be working. Now it's just me and the baby. I don't know how to feed him. And my mother-in-law could see it in me. I couldn't see it in me. And then as soon as she closed that door, I started seeing images, ugly images, things that I should do to my own son who was only 3 days old. And then your brain starts thinking this child is in your way of your life. Right now you could be at work. Right now you could be doing this. The things that I never even used to think about. Right now maybe you could be at a club or some things I never used to do. My brain starts thinking that. It comes in, it's like, and then it's just telling me to do horrible things to my child. I had to cry. I cried and I prayed and I kissed my son because that's the way I was fighting it. That's the way I was fighting it. For those who don't believe in God, I don't know. I'm not going to try to tell you to do what, but you have to find something to help you fight it. Because I had to cry. I cried. And I told, no, I'm not doing that to my child. I am not. I've worked so hard for my child. And the crazy thing is, before I had my child, I used to judge those people where I would hear in the news. I remember I had heard the news about a girl who did harm to a newborn baby because the baby could not stop crying because she wanted to play a video game. I judged that woman. I judged her before I had a child. Why would women who were this evil giving birth when they don't want to take care of their children? No. Maybe because they didn't have the support they needed. Maybe they didn't have the help that they needed. I had my mother-in-law travel 80 hours just to make sure me and the baby were okay. And she would come from working, straight from work. And what I mean is 80 hours driving because we were from one state to another. And she wanted to just make sure her grandchild and her daughter-in-law were okay. That helps. And the crazy things, for me also that helped me was people who offered help. I remember at church, they offered help to bring me food. I wanted to say no, they didn't have to, but my heart told me just accept it. And I remember one of the ladies that came, the first lady that came to brought me food, she saw I was tired, I was worn out. It was during when COVID, still COVID, but now it started becoming lenient. And I remember the lady saw me and she was like, I can help you. Just go and sleep. And I looked at this woman, I'm like, why would I leave a woman with my child? For what? I'm going to take it. But she could see it in me. Some people will see it, but they won't do anything about it. If you see somebody who's depressed, do something. And I remember the lady was like, well, I understand why, she could read it in me that there's no, I'm going to leave my child with somebody else. And then she offered to call her and text. I never even got her number. And I said, yes, ma'am, I will. And I remember, I guess she had gotten my number. And the next day, it was just too much for me to handle. And I sent a message to the pastor's wife. As soon as I sent it, it was around 7 o'clock, wanting that lady's number. And as soon as I sent it, that woman had sent me a message saying, "Hey, it's me who came yesterday trying to check up on you." I asked if she could come, and she did. It was at 7:30, and she came exactly at 8. She sat with my son. She told me I could go to sleep, but I couldn't. But because I started talking to her, telling her the things I was feeling, and she was listening, it helped. People who are going through postpartum depression, do not hold it. That's not the way you fight it. When I talk about it, people think I'm crazy. I want to brag. I want to talk. No. I don't care what people believe of me. I don't care what people say in me. When I say it, it's because I'm taking it off my chest. That's how I'm fighting it. Because I'm protecting my children and myself. And whenever you start thinking about doing harm to your child or yourself, it's not going to do you any good. It's just going to make you worse. The lady that came in, to her, she was helping a young girl with a newborn child just by sitting there. But to me, she was healing me and protecting my child. Kindness, we need it in this world. We are running out of it, but we need it. It helped. And she started coming every day. And this woman was a God-sent woman. She would come from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Seated. She didn't drink anything. She didn't eat anything. She was just there to help me watch my child until my mother-in-law moved us. But even when my mother-in-law was moving us, she still came and helped pack the stuff. When we are offered help, especially when we're fighting postpartum depression, accept it. It doesn't matter whether it's a stranger. It doesn't matter who. Accept it. If you need a shoulder to cry on and you found it, take it. Take it. Don't fight this alone. We do not need to fight this alone. Especially when the world is coming, it's just become so crazy where now, especially for people like me, I'm fighting postpartum depression. I'm fighting to how I'm going to raise my children. And then I'm also fighting with society, trying to take away our womanhood, trying to take away our value, the things that we fight for. Women, they go through a lot, just like men do. Men do too. But those who fight postpartum depression, I never knew our mothers, I'm sure they went through it. But the reason why they were able to fight that because they had family members helping them. They had somebody behind them helping them. But now it's hard. This generation is hard. It's more about work. You go to work, you give birth to a child, and you have to work. It doesn't matter because you have to pay the bills. If you don't pay the bills, you won't be able to sleep anyway. You won't be able to do anything. So it's like you run out of humanity. And you see people doing harm to other people, especially kids, children, because people don't know how to fight postpartum depression. I was just not only talking to the lady. I had to tell, I remember my cousin was pregnant too. She was right behind me. And I was telling her the type of things, the images. I described to her the images that I was seeing. Images that were telling me, do this to your child, do this to your child. And when I would tell her, she'd be in shock. Oh my God. But the crazy thing is, while I was telling her, it was helping me, but not knowing that I was preparing her as well. Because when she gave birth, she called me and she told me, do you remember the things you used to tell me? The things you were going through, I also experienced it. But because you experienced it and you told me, I was able to fight it. Share your stories. Tell other people. Tell somebody what you're going through. You might think it's not helping, but it helps a lot because you're recognizing it and you would learn to fight it. I fought through it by praying and crying. And I would look at my child and I'll be like, I love my child. I would never do anything. And I would kiss my child. Every minute I put kisses on the child because I was protecting my child. I kiss him to the point where it outgrows me to the, my son gets kisses like no man's business. And for my other child too. That's the way I fight postpartum depression. I'm sure there are times where my husband will look at me like I'm crazy, kissing a child every minute, 24/7, just 1, 2, 3. But in my head, I'm fighting. We have to fight this postpartum depression. You have to, and you're not alone. Women out there who think they are alone and then people will never understand them. No, you are not. Every woman goes through it. We just don't think we can share it. We have to share it. We have to fight it together. As a mother, I have gone through a lot in the past 3 years. And it all has to do with my children. People who have, for me, I had to go through postpartum depression, and then I started healing from it, and then I got pregnant with twins. That was another thing, which I'll have to make a video about that later on, but because that was a whole different experience as well. A whole different experience. But people are going through postpartum depression. You are not alone. Don't ever feel that way. And don't ever give up on your child. And don't ever feel like if you do any harm to your child, that solves the situation. No, it makes it worse. Yeah, people will judge you. Oh, that person that killed their child, that person that did this to their child. They will judge you. The jail will judge you. But the most person who's going to judge the most is you. Because that image in your head will be playing over and over and over and over until you end up killing yourself or you do something harm to yourself. Mothers are the main protectors of the children. The main protectors of the children. And then also choose the people that you have a child with. If you have a child with anybody anyhow and that person is abusing you and treating you bad, that postpartum depression ends up winning more than it should. Because all you'll be seeing in that child is anger and pain that the man causes you. And then that child ends up receiving the more pain than they need to. But when you have a supportive partner, somebody who is there, shows love to your children, and he loves your child more than anything, which I have with my husband. And it helps. Because you see your other partner showing support and love to your children, it eases your heart. But when you have a child with somebody who insults you, disrespects you, and you guys fight all the time, you will start putting all that anger on the child. Innocent child that does not even deserve any of that. And people like to say, oh, you're going to be like your father. What? Don't do that to a child. A child is a whole new human being. Protect them. Guide them. Show them the way. Don't let the world do that for you. You do it. Fight. And women, you've been fighting for a very, very long time. And you still have to fight. Postpartum depression is the worst thing you could ever want to experience. I didn't even know what the word meant until I gave birth. I used to hear it. Especially when people who don't go through it. Words that you hear. And I know a lot of them, they get diagnosed with medicine. But medicine just makes you become an addict. Oh, it helps me. And then the way your brain wires, because you keep saying, well, this medicine helps me, this medicine. Your brain starts thinking, well, without this medicine, I cannot do it. Well, without this medicine, I can't do that. That's not life. Women, let's protect our children. Help each other. Be there for each other. Stop bringing pain towards each other. Mothers, be there for your children. Grandmothers, be there for your children, your nieces, your grandchildren. Fighting postpartum depression is not one person. It's the whole community. Your neighbor, your doctor, your friend, your teacher, your best friend, whoever, your husband, your sister, your wife, your mother. It's not one person fighting it. If your child is crying and you have somebody who is right there, maybe your cousin or whoever, and your child is crying and you can't take it because you have so much going on in your head, ask them to help you. Sometimes people look at me when my child is crying and I'm not when I'm not holding my child because she's crying, and people be like, well, she's just letting this child cry. Some people say it's better to let the child cry than you end up doing something harm because your brain is busy screaming at you, telling you things that you should do, that you know you shouldn't do, but because your heart can't take it or your mind can't take it. But when you let that child cry, you're praying. I'm always praying inside. God, give me strength. God, this is what I wanted. Help me fight it. And by the time I grab my baby, I'm kissing that child because I'm praying and I'm fighting it. And then I'll be looking at my child and the child will be looking at me and I'll be telling that child how much I love it. Until now I figure out what do I need to do to stop my child from crying. How do I help my child from crying? And once we figure it out and the baby is sleeping, I pray about it too. Again, thank you, Lord, for another day. It's a day-by-day thing. But we need to fight it all together. As human beings, as mothers, let's protect our children, our newborn babies, ourselves. Because when we do harm to the children, we don't go anywhere else apart from jail for the rest of our lives. And the worst jail, it's not the actual physical jail, it's what's in your brain. Because once you do it, that's it. There's no turning back. And trust me, I've had images, horrible images in my head, which I never thought I would. But again, I never knew what postpartum depression meant until I had children. We have to fight it and continue fighting and never give up.